bite-sized training, focusing on belonging, which is one of the 5 elements of wellbeing we've heard from pupils, staff and parents and carers, underpins whole school wellbeing and so brings benefits to everyone. We have 4 other pre-recorded sessions on the other 4 elements of wellbeing: safety, love and care, agency and efficacy. So if you haven't already, we'd love you to check out those sessions as well. And just to add that we'd also be very happy to come and offer a more in-depth session bespoke to your school around any of the elements of wellbeing if that was helpful, or to come and meet with SLT to think about belonging in your school community. Just to introduce myself, I'm Katie, one of the psychologists in the Cynefin team. Any of us would be happy to meet with you. Before we dive into thinking about belonging, we just wanted to tell you a little bit about Cynefin and what we offer. Alongside our values, our vision principles set the direction for how we engage with schools and communities, shaping the impact we strive to achieve. Firstly, valuing relationships and learning is central to Cynefin's philosophy. We believe that strong, supportive connections within and between schools are essential for thriving communities. This principle drives to foster environments where everyone feels valued and actively engaged. We also want to support the co-creation of wellbeing, as we acknowledge that wellbeing cannot be a one-size-fits-all approach. We collaborate with school leaders, staff and parents and carers to cultivate conditions that support mental, emotional and social wellbeing. By co-creating these environments, we ensure that wellbeing initiatives are meaningful and sustainable. Finally, empowering sustainable change is about helping school communities navigate change constructively. Change can be really challenging, but with the right support, it becomes an opportunity for growth. Our goal is to equip schools with the tools and confidence to embrace change and drive lasting progress. These vision principles guide us in building a resilient, collaborative and future-focused educational landscape where every school community has the capacity to flourish. At Cynefin, our values are the foundation of our approach, and they define how we work alongside school communities and parents and carers with empathy and purpose. Firstly, we value early intervention and prevention, as they highlight the importance of addressing issues proactively. By intervening early, we can support sustainable growth and prevent challenges from escalating, creating stable, nurturing environments for everyone. Context recognise that every school is unique. We tailor our support to each school's specific needs, ensuring our approach is inclusive and respectful for all involved in children's education. Finally, we value inclusion, equity and voice. They represent our commitment to fairness and open communication. Every individual in the school community should have equal opportunities and a voice in shaping their environment. This value fosters shared ownership and collaboration, building a positive, inclusive culture. Together, these values guide us as we work to enhance wellbeing and educational outcomes across school communities and in partnership with parents and carers. Our offer is designed to meet the varied needs of school communities through targeted support and professional development. We provide professional learning and development through bite-sized sessions, as well as in-depth training on wellbeing components. For schools with specific needs, we offer bespoke support, including whole school approaches and the use of spirals of inquiry to address improvement priorities. Reflective supervision is also central to our work. We facilitate individual or group sessions that celebrate, support and strengthen professional practice and wellbeing. We're also exploring additional areas, such as piloting head teacher supervision, as well as other pilot projects, for instance, designing a project to build a sense of belonging within school communities. In addition, we're developing digital wellbeing resources and parent webinars to extend our support to families, recognising the essential role of parents and carers in the wellbeing journey. These offerings are tailored to work collaboratively with school leaders and educators, ensuring that our support is both research informed and aligned with each school's unique needs. We wanted to begin by asking you to reflect on what it's like when you don't feel you belong. Please be kind to yourselves in doing this. If you know it may bring up painful feelings, please look after yourselves and feel free to skip to the next slides. If you do feel okay to do this, then we'll start with thinking about an experience we will all have had at least for a few moments when we were in a new setting, either when we were at school ourselves as children, or even as adults when we have started in new roles. Many of you will have seen the film Inside Out. The film is about Riley, who moves from one American state to another, and this clip shows the first day of her new school in her new hometown. For those who haven't seen the film, the colourful characters represent the different emotions in Riley's brain: joy, sadness, anger, fear, and disgust, and show how they each affect Riley's core memories of important experiences, which are themselves represented by glowing balls of light. Whilst you watch the clip, we'd invite you to reflect on what that feeling is. What does it feel like? What did you do when you felt like this? What did it stop you from doing? And what helped a sense of belonging to develop?
Hey, everybody, we have a new student in class today.
Are you kidding me? Out of the gates? This is not happening!
Riley, would you like to tell us something about yourself?
No! Pretend we can't speak English.
Don't worry, I got this.
Okay. My name is Riley Anderson. I'm from Minnesota, and now I live here.
And how about Minnesota? Can you tell us something about it? Well, you certainly get a lot more snow than we do.
She's hilarious.
Yeah, it gets pretty cold. The lake freezes over, and that's when we play hockey. I'm on a great team. We're called the Prairie Dogs. My friend Meg plays forward, and my dad's the coach. Pretty much everyone in my family skates. It's kind of a family tradition. We go out on the lake almost every weekend. Or we did till I moved away.
Hey, what
Wait,
gives?
what?
Hey, Sadness, you touched a memory? We talked about this.
Oh, yeah, I know. I'm sorry.
Get back in your circle. What's going on?
Get out of
I
there,
don't
Joy.
interject.
We used to play tag and stuff.
Cool Kids whispering at 3 o'clock. No.
Did you see that? Look!
Oh, no.
They're judging us!
Somebody help me! Grab that! Everybody put it...
But everything's different now. Since we moved.
Oh no, we're crying at school!
What? Sadness, what are you doing? Oh, I'm sorry.
It's a core memory.
But it's blue. No, wait! Stop it! No! No!
Joy, no! That's a core memory!
Stop it! Let
Wait!
go.
Core memories!
Ah!
Thank you, Riley. I know it can be tough moving to a new place, but we're happy to have you here. All right, everyone, get out your history books and turn to chapter 7.
Can I say that curse word now?
It can be painful to think about the feelings we have when we don't feel a sense of belonging. Owen Eastwood, who has written about developing a sense of belonging in sports teams, and more recently talked about this in relation to schools, describes this feeling powerfully below. He talks about the science behind why a sense of belonging is important. When we experience this, our body produces a hormone soup that enables oxytocin, serotonin, dopamine, and endorphins to work their magic. This allows us to trust, communicate, and cooperate at a higher level. He writes that we are able to learn better when we feel connected and welcomed. We've thought about what it's like when we don't have a sense of belonging. Now we wanted to take a moment to think about what helps create a culture where everyone feels they belong. If you can, take a moment to think about what were the cues that led you to have this sense? What did people do or say that gave you this sense? And what did that sense of belonging support you to do? We hope this exercise has given you some food for thought as to some of the ingredients that can help develop and create a culture of belonging for everyone. So now we'll take a few moments to share a little bit of the research and literature around belonging in schools, something which has been thought about extensively. Firstly, what does it actually mean to belong in schools? We've taken this definition from some recent work by the National Children's Bureau and their publication Belonging Matters, which is referenced on the last slide. They describe school belonging as the extent to which pupils feel personally accepted, respected, included and supported by others in the school social environment. We would argue that this definition applies equally to staff and to parents and carers, who are all very much part of the school community. We wanted to add as well that Owen Eastwood also talks about belonging as being something that connects to something greater than ourselves. So very much that sense that school is a community. For those of you that have watched our other sessions, you'll see that we need some of the other elements of wellbeing to be in place in order to experience a sense of belonging. They are all interconnected. Children need to feel safe and cared for in order to feel they belong. Belonging has an evolutionary purpose in that being part of a group is described as a ticket to survival through sharing of roles and resources such as food, shelter. From a young age, we start to form bonds with others, starting with our caregivers and expanding to other adults and peers soon after. It feels really worth emphasising that Baumeister and Leary describe belonging as a need rather than something that is simply a preference. We wanted to share with you some of the reasons why we know belonging can make a difference, both directly in terms of learner and staff wellbeing, but also in terms of the other positive benefits. The table below is taken from a recent publication from the Institute of Education at UCL on school belonging. We wanted to highlight some of the findings below, particularly that 1 in 4 young people feel they do not belong in school, a figure which is rising. It's also worth highlighting that we know both anecdotally and from the research that children who experience either a sense of or an actual experience of exclusion are more at risk of seeking belonging through connection to groups that do not offer safety, such as vulnerability to criminal or sexual exploitation. On the flip side, offering a sense of belonging provides many benefits. That includes increased student motivation, other positive social outcomes for health and well-being, improved academic achievement, and a growing sense of agency, which relates to both students and staff, a belief that they can make a difference. It's also well worth noting that increased belonging can have a positive impact on staff well-being, motivation and retention. In relation to psychological well-being, feeling a sense of acceptance and belonging leads to experiencing calm and contentment. According to the Department of Education in England, fostering a sense of belonging is protective for an individual's mental health. A study from Roffey, Boyle and Allen argues that a sense of school belonging can also boost academic engagement and motivation, as well as improved resilience, sleep, gratitude and self-esteem. There's a huge amount of research highlighting the negative impact of not experiencing belonging, but just to highlight some key points when children have this experience through social exclusion, being bullied or not experiencing safe attachments, they are more likely to have poor physical health outcomes and experience higher levels of loneliness. Experiencing a threat to belonging or a threat of exclusion has also been linked to a reduction in intellectual performance, which in turn will directly affect academic attainment. So what helps to support a sense of belonging? In 2024, the National Children's Bureau published a huge literature review into the factors that support belonging in schools, and we've referenced that in the final slide here. One strong theme was for learners to feel supported by staff. To unpick that a little bit more, key ingredients seem to be for learners to feel staff are friendly and fair. And it's worth noting that the importance of fairness increases as young people get older. So this may be even more relevant in high schools. It'll probably come as no surprise that being part of a peer group also increased a sense of belonging. From our understanding of child development, we would also expect that to increase as children grow older. Opportunities to take part in extracurricular activities have also been shown to create cultures of belonging, giving thought to how any child can take part, whatever their interests and strengths. And finally, in thinking about the environment, take a moment to think about the cues that help someone to feel welcome when they come into your school. What happens on the gate, in the reception area? What do the classrooms look like? How are learners welcomed in, and so on? There's also some evidence that seating plans can play a part in creating belonging, and whilst we know that it can be very tricky to get this right for all learners at all times, it is worth giving thought to how who someone is sat next to can affect their sense of belonging. In preparing this session, we were mindful that most people here will have at some level wanted to work in schools to offer supportive relationships to children, but that there may be all kinds of challenges to this at times, not least the increasing pressures staff are juggling. So we wanted you to pause for a moment to think about the factors that might get in the way of you offering friendly and fair connections to children in your settings. Some examples might include time, school values or rules, or responding to children's behaviour in class. We'd also ask that you think about what helps you to offer those relationships. We are mindful too that it's equally beneficial for staff to have a sense of belonging in their setting. Depending on your role, this is something you may be more or less able to influence, but we'd like to prompt you to think about your own sense of belonging and whether you are able to increase that for yourself or for others. There are many ideas that promote belonging, and these are just a few. It can be really helpful to think about the difference between doing belonging and weaving a sense of belonging throughout a school community. We'd love to hear your thoughts about things that you're already doing. As we mentioned earlier, Owen Eastwood has written a book focusing on belonging in sports teams and the impact that this can have on performance. And he's spoken more recently about the importance of developing belonging in schools. His work is also referenced in the last slide if it's of interest. He talks about developing an us story, bringing together stories of members of a community from the past and linking these with the stories of every current member of a community. The questions on the slide here can help us think about how we can develop an us story. The research shows how important it is to listen to all members of a school community, whether that's pupils, parents and staff voices, and to ensure that a culture of belonging for everyone. It is particularly important to hear from those who may be more marginalised. That might include children and staff from LGBTQ backgrounds and from ethnic groups that are in the minority within your school, children with additional learning needs, children who experience poverty, and refugee and asylum-seeking children. Owen Eastwood's work invites us to think about the strengths everyone bring, both staff and learners, which also links to our core wellbeing element of agency. Some strengths will be different and some will be the same. Both are valuable. So we finally wanted to leave you today with a little more food for thought. We'd invite you to think about your own school community and what's working well in terms of belonging. Where are the gaps and the barriers? Are there areas where issues that might relate to belonging often arise? That might be concerns around attendance, increased exclusions or isolations in certain groups, or bullying. We'd really like you to think a little bit about belonging for staff and about connections with parents and carers, what's going well and where there might be barriers. Within Cynefin, we have taken learning from research and have lots of thoughts and ideas about embedding belonging across school communities. So we'd love to come and think with you about this, either to offer a more in-depth training session for a whole staff group or to meet with your SLT to think about developing this element, though that is so central in underpinning whole school wellbeing. Thanks so much for taking the time out of your busy lives to listen today, and we would really love to come into your schools soon. If you have a few moments, we'd be very grateful if you're able to scan the QR code below to complete our evaluation form so we can continue to improve our trainings and make sure that they are helpful for all staff. Once you've scanned the code, if you click on professionals and then training, that should take you to the relevant questions. So thank you for that. And just to add that the references that we've mentioned are on the final slide following this. Thank you very much.